Recording.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to What's Happening Yucatan, your Wednesday night show with me, Stephanie Carmon. For those of you who don't know me, I am the creator and editor of Mid-City Beat, an English publication online. We are very active on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and we have our website, www.midcitybeat.com, and an awesome calendar of events that is being renovated right now as we speak. I'm going to be launching the new one, hopefully at the end of the month. So definitely stay tuned because it's going to have all sorts of events that are going on in this city. And really, it's going to be super user-friendly and awesome. So definitely check it out. Again, that's on www.midcitybeat.com. So, as you know, I always let you guys know what is going on during the week. Well, this week, I have a very special events coming up. I'm turning 46 on Wednesday. Actually, the day that you are listening to this right now, I'm doing a pre-recording because I have a super special guest with me today. And we're doing a pre-recording because, well, on Wednesday, which is today, I'm going to be out and about celebrating my 46th birthday. Yes, 46 young. 46 young, feeling good and loving life. So today, my guest is Alex Marin y Kall. You might all know about him, or AKA Ese Wey. Hello, hello.
Hello, Steph. Thank you for inviting me to your show. I'm a big fan. Whenever I can, I just listen to it. And actually, I listen a lot to Radio Mundo.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's where I get my news. So
yes. There's some great newscasters on Radio Mundo.
Exactly.
We got a great team.
Thank you for inviting me. And happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
You don't look 46 at all.
I know, right? That's what I say.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yes. I always love my birthday. Usually it's not just a birthday day. I do the whole birthday week or even extend it to the birthday month. The month. March is a great birthday month. It's like springy, right? There's all kinds of new things. The first of the year, which is, January, you're just kind of getting your footing. You're figuring out what you're doing in the year. February is okay. You're kind of getting there. By March, you're like, all right. It's still new.
The year is on.
The year's on. You totally know what your goals are. You're starting to accomplish them. Maybe not.
Yeah, of course. It's like the very start of the real year, right?
Yeah, March. It's like the start of the real year. So yeah.
And the real heat here in Yucatan.
Oh my gosh, I know, right? The sun is getting super strong. Yeah, this is a time where I always tell newcomers, like my mother, for example, who just moved here in October, and I, tell her, you know what? You are not allowed to go on the street between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m.
Because you get golpe de calor.
You do. You get heat
Right.
stroke. Yeah, it's really intense. So, yeah, we go into the vampire mode during these times. We're all inside during the day, and we go out at night or early in the morning.
I'm already sweating now.
I know. Yeah. That's part of the charm.
Yeah.
That's part of the charm of Merida, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, all right. So I'm excited to be here with you too. I'm a big fan of yours.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes.
We've only met in different events and meeting people in restaurants, and
I know.
I love your world.
Yeah.
I mean, your universe of very cool people in cool places and the best places in Merida. I just really love you on Instagram.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I definitely enjoy what I do. I hang out with a lot of cool people. I meet a lot of really cool people.
Yes.
And definitely eat at a lot of great spots. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this weekend I want to actually give a couple foodie shout outs. There's a couple new places that I've been eating at lately. One of them is, last night I was at Terrace, which is in the Remate.
Terrace? Is that where El Gato is?
That's where El Gato is, exactly.
It's a great place. I'm recording with Jose, one of the partners at El Gato.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm recording some short stories.
Oh, cool.
So the idea is you will go to El Gato at certain time of the day, and you will listen some readings from books that are referred to El Gato.
Really?
Because all the gato is like inspired on writers and literature.
Okay.
So there will be a specific time of the day, and you can listen to the books.
So why El Gato? Is that referred to as a specific writer?
I think it's referred to a short story from a Mexican Yucatecan writer.
Oh.
I think it's a reference to a.
Oh,
And that's the story. I think that story. I'm gonna read that story as well. So it's like a whole project, of art and reflecting books and literature. So that's interesting.
Oh, I
about
love
El
it.
Gato.
So then, if you go there in the evening, you might hear that on
the playlist.
speaker.
Yeah.
On the play.
Between music.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, I interviewed Josh. Josh was on my show in the
Josh.
summer. He was
Josh.
one of the first interview. Yeah, he's great. He's a great designer, and he's
I love his
definitely a
work.
great character here in Merida for sure. Yeah, me too. But yeah, so I've been eating at Terrace. I went there last week and had a whole I had oysters and
Oh wow!
yeah, grilled shrimp. I mean, they just really do it up there.
I saw that they just put like a big seafood bar.
Yeah, they put a seafood bar. Yeah, they
So
have the
nice.
chocolate clams or oysters. Yeah, they get them flown in fresh every 2 weeks.
Nice.
So that's a great spot. Another spot, well, right downstairs they have the Remate de Montejo, which is a great spot. I went there the other day for breakfast, so that's also recommended. Have you been there for breakfast?
Yeah,
yet?
it's open. I think every day, all day long, right?
It's open. Well, they're closed on Mondays.
Oh, okay,
I think
okay.
everybody. I think the whole complex is closed on Mondays, if I'm not mistaken.
But it's Remate, the big room downstairs. Then the terrace. You have a great view of Montejo.
Of Montejo, it's so
and then
cool.
you have El Gato, so it's 3, right?
It's 3. Well, then there's Pizzanillo.
And Pizzanillo.
That's also in that part of group. So it's a cool little gastronomic corner.
You know what I like about Pizzanillo? Because what I really like about them is that they make everything from organic food. I mean, they don't buy the cheese from Costco or
Exactly.
they don't buy the sauce from Walmart. They do everything from scratch.
They do everything from scratch. Yeah, it's farm to table-ish.
Exactly.
Right? I don't know if they can completely put it farm to table, but it really is. And you can tell.
Well,
with
I'll see you there whenever you want to get a drink. I'll be there with you.
Exactly. Another shout out for food also is Anima.
Oh, well.
Anima and that is more like classic farm to table. And man, they have all the meats are made in the smoker or on the grill.
I talked to the chef. What's his name?
Ted.
I talked to him and I said, your cooking is very inspired by Francis Malman. You know Francis Malman?
No, yes,
He's an Argentinian chef,
Yes,
and
of
everything.
course.
He cooks everything with charcoal and madera leña
And wood
timber,
fire,
everything
oven.
with
Yeah.
fire from the ground. So it's very impressive because the asadores are really big, are huge.
They are. Oh, it's amazing. The food is great, and it's not just for meat lovers. They also have vegetarian stuff too.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. The veggie
You
dishes
don't eat
are like
meat?
out of. No, I do. I eat everything. I know. I do.
Yeah,
I
me too.
Definitely do. That lamb there is like to die for.
Wow.
That lamb there's to die for. Another couple shout outs for food also. If you happen to be in Santa Lucia, Rosa Sur for
Whoa,
breakfast.
that's a classic, right?
That's a classic. Have you been there?
The first time I came to Merida, I mean for work as an adult because I was here as a kid, just visiting. But like I think 4 years ago, I came and I tried Rosa and it was so nice.
It's so nice.
It's a classic from downtown Merida.
It's a classic for downtown Merida. It's kind of just one of those. It's small. It's like tucked in between the Recova Puala, the bigger ones, which are also really good ones. But it's just small. But man, you really can't go wrong. I really enjoy going to Rosa Sur. And also another one, a new one is Pausar, which is in the complex of the Bodega 77. Which is a design house out of Mexico City. You might have heard of them. Grupo Seep with Israel Zafra as the designer.
No, I think I've seen something on Instagram, but I've never been there. So I'm going to try. Thank you for your recommendation.
You got to try it. Yeah, you can go and you can check out the furniture. They're furniture manufacturers, so they can design furniture for you. And I mean, not right there. Of course, everything's made in Mexico City, but there's showrooms there. So you can go check out the furniture.
So where is it?
And then it's on Calle, 48 between like 61 and 63. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's down...
Anotado.
Yeah, it's
I will visit
down a
them.
little bit. Yeah, so you could go there, and then Pausar, the restaurant, there has nice breakfasts and brunches.
Oh, perfect
So
for me.
yeah, it's a great setting. So those are some foodie shout outs there. Okay, definitely that's anybody who follows Mid City knows that
Very
That's
nice.
one of the things that I do, for sure. Go to restaurants and eat.
You know, me and my wife Leah, we always looking for places to, have lunch on Saturday and Sunday, go with the family. So you're like the reference for everything we try here in
That's
Merida.
so great. Yeah, actually, a lot of people say that to me. They're like, whenever we want to go, I just look in your stories or we look in, which is perfect. That's kind of the point. When I get information out to people.
You're the one, the reference.
The reference. Ooh, love that. Love that.
It's an honor to be here with you.
Yes. Well, no, it's an honor to be here with you. So yes. So like I was saying, I'm here. This is Alex Marin and Kall, and it's Ese Wey. He's a stand-up comedian.
You know what Ese Wey means?
Oh,
You know
really?
what a
Tell
way
us.
means? You've heard the word.
Well, of course.
Way.
I've been in Mexico for a long time, and I even use it. But I mean, okay, what is exactly the reference? For me, it's kind of like dude.
Yeah, exactly. Now it is. When I was a kid, it was more like an insult. You would say, "Hey, güey, eres un güey," in a reference to a buey, to a bull. You know, a buey, it's a bull.
A buey, yeah.
So they're brute and they're like,
So if back when you were a kid, if somebody was called way, what
it
would
was
that
an
be?
insult.
But what would it be referring to? Like what kind of?
What I remember is mostly on incidents on traffic. When you were driving. So when someone would, just do something stupid and driving would be, "Hey, güey!" And you would put like the horns on your hand, like, "Hey, güey, es un güey, es un tonto, es
It's like an idiot or something like that.
But as I grew up, it became like a more familiar word. So everybody just called their friends or dudes like, "¿Qué onda, güey? ¿Cómo estás, güey?"
Exactly.
So
that's
it's now
how-
more like a very friendly way to say for a dude, a brother, "Hey, bro, hey, güey, ¿cómo estás, güey? ¿Qué pedo, güey?"
Right. So now if you call somebody, you say, that guy's a way.
Ese güey. Like, it's like the generic for Mexican. Ese
Yeah.
güey is como, that dude, that guy, that
Right.
something. So I picked the handle because when I started my career as a stand-up comedian, I just thought it would be good marketing. So I have all the handles with Ese Wey with a W.
Totally. And
So-
and has that worked out? You think it's been a good market?
Well, it's been good, because nobody forgets. Everybody asks, "Why are you Ese Wey? What is that?" And
Yeah.
so I have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, eseway.com.
right.
So-
and probably everybody knows you as Ese Wey. And
Exactly.
they don't. And a lot of people probably don't even know your name is Alex.
No,
Maybe.
most
maybe
people
not.
know, but what I thought is stand-up comedy is like the observation of common, regular, everyday people.
Right.
So the stand-up I like to see is people just thinking what they see and processing it and making jokes. So that was like the motivation of being Ese Wey. I'll just say what everybody thinks and nobody, dares to say.
Exactly. Which is the beauty of stand-up comedy.
Exactly.
Really. All right. Well, we are going to take a quick commercial break. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere because we are going to continue our talk with Ese Wey. So welcome back. I'm Stephanie with What's Happening Yucatan, and today I have a really great guest, a very special guest, Alex Marin y Kall, or otherwise known as Ese Wey. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, that's my name.
That's your
Alex Marin y
name.
Kall. It's a Yucatecan name, Marin,
Marin, yeah, I do know quite a few Marins here.
from Motul.
From Motul,
And
the
actually-
famous huevos motuleños.
Those were my grandfathers.
I bet. You see? You get all sorts of history here.
Exactly. Yeah, but actually, my name is made up because my grandfather went to Mexico and he became a radio DJ.
Okay.
the
So it runs in the
X-
family.
Yeah, it runs in the family. On XCW, the XCW, which
Okay.
was the first radio station here in Mexico.
Right.
And he made up this name Marin y Kall because it was like his stage name, his microphone name, and he used the name for the family.
And where? Okay, Marin, but also y Kall.
He was Marin Barroso. That was his name.
Okay.
And when he became famous, people at the station said, "You cannot go just by the name of Marin. You need something more."
More
Yeah.
stronger.
So
The Mesm punch.
it's a long story. I don't know with detail, but I heard that there's a phrase in Mexico that we use. You know what cal is? The white powder?
The white powder, yeah.
Yeah, it's called cal.
It's a mineral that they.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a phrase that says "una de cal por las que van de arena."
Okay, and what does that mean?
It means that when you've had enough of something and you take revenge. So, una de cal por las que... If you throw me sand,
Yeah.
I mean, the sand can be harsh or can
Right.
be, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But if you throw cal, it's toxic, you know? So, una de cal por las que van de arena. And my grandfather used to be like, he used to make a lot of mistakes when he was starting. So
Right.
everybody, but when he did something good, he did it really good.
Right, right.
So everything,
right.
una de cal por las que van de arena. You made a lot of mistakes, but this one's
But
really
this one's
good.
really
so
good.
you're-
Oh,
so someone
that's awesome.
suggested that he put his name Marin y Kall.
Oh, that's great.
Something like that. It's in a book about the radio station. So
Oh,
you
really?
you can look it up in a book about the XCW. But that's more or less the story of the name.
So then when you started with your career, you kind of adopted that.
No, I was registered under that name.
Oh, you were registered.
We are my
Your birth
father,
cer- you were in
my
your birth
father, his
certificate.
brothers,
Yeah.
and we have this legal name.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fascinating.
Yeah, I know. It's a very interesting story because the name was conceived in the halls of XCW, a radio station.
Oh my
And we love
gosh.
radio, right?
Because you always think, in Latin countries, it's very traditional with the name, the
Mm-hmm.
name. You don't hear too much about how people have changed their names or something like this, and they have passed on to
Exactly.
their kids.
So we're like the third generation of Marin y Kall. My daughter is like the fourth generation of
That
Marin y
is
Kall.
awesome. Love it. That's a great story.
No, thank you.
That's a great story. So, okay, so Ese Wey, so you're a stand-up comedian. You also have done journalism. You're a producer. You do voiceovers.
Yeah.
So how is it that you got started in this career?
Well, it's a long story. I wanted to be an audio engineer. I wanted to be like Alan Parsons, make
Okay.
records and stuff.
Sure,
but
sure.
when it came the time to decide what to study, there were no audio engineering schools in Mexico.
Right.
You see, so I wanted to make records. And after that, I became very involved in radio and microphones and stuff. So my option was to study journalism on the Universidad Autónoma de Mexico.
Okay.
So that's what I studied.
Right.
But then a strike on the UNAM hit the campus. And then I spent 10 months doing nothing, and I wanted to study.
Really? What year was that?
I think it was 99, 2000.
Wow. Okay. And it was a strike because the teacher strike.
Yeah. It was more a student strike.
Oh, it was a student strike.
Yeah, a student strike. So, and I said, I don't want to wait here. And I got offered a job in a recording studio.
Right.
So that's where I started, doing audio for advertising and a lot of stuff. So the first part of my career was being an audio engineer and a recording studio.
In a recording, musical recording.
Yeah.
Or any recording.
Basically advertising,
Okay.
voiceovers and some music and basically doing radio.
Right. So you were kind of like behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. But
Technician.
after that, I started recording voiceover for commercials, and then I got called from a radio station to write comedy for politics.
Okay, so how did you get into that? I mean, is that because that's not just like they don't just call in anybody for that.
No.
It's writing comedy and doing comedy.
A friend of mine.
Really a high art. It's really difficult.
Yeah, it is, especially in this country,
Yeah.
So a friend of mine that studied with me in the university, Enrique Hernandez Alcázar, he's a journalist. He was starting this project in W Radio, which is like the next step of the XCW.
Okay.
So he was starting this project, and he called me. He said, "Hey, listen, I need a creative and a voiceover to do voices and do sketches for the radio." So I got a call, and I started writing comedy for politicians. I mean, not for politicians, but for news, doing jokes about politics.
Okay, so how is it that you realized you had a talent for writing comedy?
Well, what I've learned in these years in comedy is you need to have a talent, but it's more important to work every day. You see?
Yeah.
Like Thomas Edison said once, right? That's 99, it's 1% of inspiration and 99 of transpiration, something like that.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
comedy is the same. I've seen people writing comedy that at the first they didn't have any, they couldn't get any laugh. And after years of working, they're great people on stage and doing great comedy. So it's more, it's like just working and keep going, right?
Right. But I mean, like, okay, for example, me, if somebody says, Stephanie, I need you to write comedy. I mean, I have a little bit of a comic tone sometimes if I say that, but
Yeah.
there's no way I could do write stand-up comedy. I mean, it's not like my gift. I mean, I think it's a special gift. So how is it that you first developed that?
Well, writing for advertising. You know, my first job was as a creative assistant, like a copywriter.
Okay.
So I would write, and the advertising has a lot of comedy in it.
It does. You're right.
So I got trained in that, and after that, the radio job gave me a lot of pen. You know what I mean? I would write the sketches, 3 sketches every day for radio, and do the voices, and do the production, and put the music and everything. So it was like a big training.
Like a big training, right? Exactly. And but then you said you used to write for politicians.
Not for politicians. I was. What I meant is, I wrote doing jokes for political events. I mean, for the news, like SNL, like Weekend Update.
Okay, or
I'm
like a
talking
Daily
about-
Show or something.
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
sense.
yeah. So would
So
make
it's
Paradise.
informative but funny.
Yeah, it's infotainment.
Yeah.
So we'd make a parody of the president, who was Vicente Fox at that time.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
we just make parodies of Fox, and then Calderón, and then Peña Nieto. So now López Obrador, we still do it, right? So that gave me a lot of scope of what was going on in politics and social things happening in Mexico, and
Right.
they can do jokes about that.
So okay, so what is that process when you do that? Because I mean, we all love. I mean, most of us love those shows. I watch the Daily Show all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a source of good information too, because sometimes I don't know what laws are being passed, and then they make fun of it, and I'm like, whoa, that was a law that was passed, or something to that effect. So what is it? What is that process? You guys, you read the news, and then you take what's going on, or what's that process?
You know, the thing with politicians is that they always do funny things, and they don't know.
Yeah.
They're being funny, you know? Like President López Obrador, today last week, he started the conference, talking about baseball and doing, and it's not this president. All the presidents do funny stuff, and they don't think it's funny, but they're funny.
Or like that kind of sounds a little out of place or kind of ridiculous in the middle of their context or something like that.
And I've always thought that it gets you closer to the scope of reality. I mean, to put them in a more human place,
Right.
than he's the president or the governor or Mexicans are very like, oh, he's a governor.
Right.
And we need to think in democracy that they are just people.
Right.
And they better do their job, okay?
Right.
And they
they're
better
there because we voted them into place.
And I think it's comedy is a tool to think about reality. So that's what I think, that comedy makes all these figures closer to Earth, so that we can have a better scope of reality and think, oh, this guy is just messing it up, right?
Right, exactly.
Because every politician, everyone, it's not about parties or people. They have so much power that they tend to do stupid things.
Right, exactly.
Everywhere in the world. It's not Mexico. It's not
No,
Yucatan.
it's all over.
It's United States. You see Putin.
Right, exactly.
Putin. I mean, it's a Putin or Putin. But you see Putin, and you see what's happening with Trump, and what's happening with Biden, and what's happening with Bolsonaro.
Exactly.
With Lula. So everyone, especially politicians, have a lot of material for comedy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So is that a team of people that you work with in that? What's the show called?
El Hueso.
El Juez. And that's on what radio station?
It's in W Radio, 96.9 in FM and 96.9 in Mexico City.
Okay.
And I think they have a show, a new show from Carlos Loret de Mola.
Oh,
here
yeah, I
in
love
the
that.
Radio Mundo, right?
Yeah.
It's in the same station that I work for.
Ah, okay.
But it's like the 6 p.m. news broadcast.
Right.
It's called El Hueso, the bone.
The Bone. And is that every day?
It's every day 6. But my collaboration, it's on Thursdays at about 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m.
Okay. So what is your process? I mean, do you work with the other writers and you guys kind of come up with something?
At the
or-
beginning, it was a big team. We were like 10 writers.
Okay.
Now I'm like the only collaborator with humor, so it's just me on Thursdays. But I work on news. I mean, last week we have Ricardo Monreal. He's like trying to be the candidate, and there were some photos of him like being initiated in a Mason ceremony, like Eyes Wide Shut style.
Right.
So there were the pictures, and so I made a parody of that. Like it was like Eyes Wide Shut with Ricardo Monreal. But it's it's just like a way of seeing things in a different way.
Right.
Right.
And I mean, do you get any negative backlash from that?
Not really.
No.
I got it when I went out with Supercívicos. Have you heard about that?
No.
We would do like happenings on street, like for example, if there was a car on second row, like in a bad place for parking,
Okay.
we would make a whole sketch of, I don't know, we would get dressed as Jesus Christ and said, "Open up," and then we would like try to move the cars, stupid stuff like that,
Right.
but with people on streets.
Okay, so what, you would just like plan it and go like with your other people that you were collaborating with and say, okay, we're gonna go this place today and see what's going on?
Yeah, like for example, there was a big puddle
of water?
bache.
Yeah, like a hole with a puddle.
Yeah, in Mexico, and it was so deep it had water, so it made like tinabache. It's a bache with so a friend of mine put a bath. He was like bathing in the hole
In
with
the big,
dirt and
we would call that a pothole.
pothole.
A pothole. Yeah.
And that would be like the politician, inaugurando la tinabache, just to make the reflection,
Right.
like people think of what was happening with comedy.
Exactly.
And then we got backlash with a lot of things. I mean, there was a big audience with positive feedback.
Right.
But there were also like authorities like, "Are you talking about my delegación?"
Right, right.
So it was in Supercívicos, and we actually got covered by the BBC, by the New York Times.
Really?
Yeah.
And that was a video show then?
Yeah, it was a YouTube video. We were on a TV station.
Yeah.
And then it became viral, and it was all YouTube.
Oh, right.
Supercívicos. That was an interesting experiment.
That sounds really, really cool. And
And it was really fun
That sounds really fun. That sounds really fun to watch.
and dangerous to do.
Yeah, I bet. So what was like, what was the most dangerous situation that you
Well,
found
a
yourself?
guy just pulled a gun on my head.
You are kidding me.
Yeah, it was
What
a-
happened?
He was like a diputado or a senador or something
No
like that in
way.
Mexico City. Yeah, and his big camioneta was obstructing the
truck,
way.
like a
Yeah,
big-
and the driver was just sitting there and he was obstructing because he was waiting for his patron.
Oh.
I don't even know the name of this guy, but his guarura.
That's so annoying when that
Yeah.
happens. When you are waiting there and just somebody's just staying in the middle of the road and you're
Yeah.
like, really?
Yeah, and because he was
That's so inconsiderate.
and he was like, "I'm waiting for el patron," and we were dressed as cowboys because we were doing something stupid about. I don't remember. And we tried to move his car from and he pulled the gun and.
But like what? Like physically tried to move it?
Yeah, we just
you tried to push
we were
it or
just
something?
filming. Like I remember now with a rope we were trying to, like,
lasso
like if it was a bull,
the car.
like it was a bull, and it was just a joke. And
Yeah.
It was like, no me estés molestando. Yeah, and
Oh.
it gets dangerous.
That gets dangerous.
Yeah,
But were
so-
you filming it?
Yeah, of course. It's
And,
all,
and he pulled
it's
out the
somewhere
gun?
in you just Google Supercívicos and you'll find it.
Okay, I'm definitely going to be Googling that after this. You guys have to too, because that sounds like...
But it was all comedy. I mean, after all this process, I found that comedy is a tool for people to think about reality.
Absolutely. Definitely, yeah. I mean, with Jon Stewart, it started with The Daily Show. I mean, that's when I first started.
Yeah,
Now with
yeah.
Trevor Noah and Saturday Night Live. I mean, classic.
Exactly.
For sure. So I know that you have done shows on Netflix, Comedy Central,
Yeah.
Mexico. So how did that kind of success start?
When we started doing stand-up comedy, there were no places to do stand-up comedy in Mexico City because Mexicans are not really familiar with stand-up comedy.
Okay.
Like England or United States
Right.
or Australia it's more an Anglo thing, right?
Okay,
Comedy in
okay.
Mexico is more about albures or
Okay.
characters.
Sure, or like the Yucatecan comedy
Yeah,
here is
it's
very
more like
localized.
that, which is good. I mean,
Which
there's
is fun, but
there's
yeah.
a big market for that, and there's people that enjoy it. But stand-up comedy is a different thing.
Yeah.
It's more personal. It's more honest. It's more. I think it's more sophisticated from my point of view.
Right.
And what I really appreciate about stand-up comedy is that every comedian has a unique thing. It's like, because I wouldn't make jokes that you would make. You would talk about being, where are you from?
California.
Yeah, a California girl living in Merida, and I wouldn't be able to do that jokes.
Right, exactly.
And before stand-up comedy in Mexico, comedians would do just like generic jokes, bar jokes and drunk jokes and,
Right.
something from the public domain.
Right.
And stand-up comedy is original.
Yeah.
That's what I love about stand-up
Yeah,
comedy.
it's really about your experience as a person, but as a person who is observing the world on many different platforms, many different areas.
So what I thought is, if I want better comedy in television, because I hated Mexican television comedy when I was
really?
growing, I didn't like it. We have a lot of these kind of comedians and blue comedians and albures, and
Right.
some of them were really good, and I have an admiration and respect for them. But I wanted it to be The Simpsons. I wanted it to be Family Guy. I wanted it to be Saturday Night Live.
Right.
And I started to notice that most of the writers of those shows were stand-up comedians.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, if we have more stand-up comedians and more people working on the stages, we'll have better television.
Right.
So we started with my wife and some comedians. We started the first open mic in Mexico City.
And so where was it? Where was the club?
In Nuevo León, in la Colonia Condesa.
Okay.
It's called Woco Comedy Club now.
Oh, so
It was a
now
bar.
it's a comedy club.
Now it's a comedy club.
Oh, cool.
And
I'll have to go
upstairs, there's a 200-seat comedy club
Oh,
now.
really?
Called the 139.
Okay, put it on the list. Next time I go to Mexico City.
Should go there.
Have to
And,
go.
what happened is that VH1 was starting to bring Comedy Central to Mexico.
Okay.
So they started casting people working in that open mic.
Right.
So everything developed from there. And I ended up recording a 1-hour special for Comedy Central in a big Plaza Condesa.
Right. Yeah, I think I saw some of the footage on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how it started, because we were the first open mic in Mexico City. So they were like, okay, let's do the casting here.
Right.
And me and my friends ended up recording for Comedy Central eventually.
And so how was it first received, the stand-up comedy in Mexico?
I think people noticed that this was a different comedy. So everybody was so amazed that you could see people talking about things that nobody talked about. Politics and STDs, and, very intimate things.
All these things that you don't really feel comfortable talking about
Exactly.
necessarily, or it's like not at the family dinner. It's like, no, you don't want to talk about that.
Exactly.
But everybody kind of wants to talk about it because
Yeah.
it's kind of fun to talk about. Yeah. And also another thing, like about comedy, it's not necessarily very translatable. Like if
Yeah.
people would let's say follow comedians, Eddie Murphy and et cetera, in the States, and they watch it and they read a translation, it just
It's not the same.
It's totally not the same.
That's why I thought I'd better do you can see my English is very rusty.
No,
So
your English is great.
I'm working on that, and I'm trying to do some bits in English.
Well, I know that's what when you told me you were doing it in English, I was like, wow, that's even another step higher, because it's one thing to be fluent in English. It's another thing to write comedy in English
exactly.
and relate to people that are English speakers.
And I've done shows for HBO in Los Angeles, in Glendale.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I filmed some things for HBO doing comedy in Spanish for Mexicans, for
Okay.
Latins in United States, and it worked so good.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
But when we tried an open mics in English, you need to work on a different level of ideas.
Yeah, because it's they're completely different idiosyncrasies and nuances and things like that. And to really get, because I think with comedy, you have to get into the popular trends and what people are talking about, really, so that everybody can relate with what it is that you're making fun of.
Exactly.
So it's there's a lot of levels and dynamics. So what is like now, because like I mentioned before, you have a show in El Cardenal, the cantina, which is on, what are the streets? Do you remember?
No.
I'll get it to you afterwards. You can look it up.
But you can
El
look
Cardenal.
it up, Cardenal Cantinero. It's like, I think it's like the most antique cantina
I
in
think
Merida.
it is the oldest cantina in
Oldest.
Merida. It's a great spot. And it's on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
It's an open mic, but you do some stand-up there.
Yeah, I opened the show because we don't have that much comedians.
Right. Yeah, no, Merida's just starting, and most
Yeah.
of the people that come in will come in for the weekend because they're coming from Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I noticed that there's a lot of English-speaking people living here and visiting here.
Yeah.
And what I thought is, whenever I go to everywhere in the world, I just look for a comedy club.
Yeah.
So I said, well, let's do this for Wednesdays, like a comedy club for people to come and maybe try some jokes. And you can go and you can sign in the list, and you'll have 5 minutes to try yourself as a comedian.
Oh my gosh! So have you heard some other people do that with Mike that are
Of
have
course.
good talent?
Last week there was a girl from British Columbia.
Okay.
And she did like 10 minutes of just ideas, and
And
she
it was
just
good. It was
spoke like
fun?
I was broke and I came here to Merida, and my mom lives in Quintana Roo, so we're visiting, and she got some laughs. Yeah, and even applause, because she was
Really?
being so honest.
Right.
And that's the thing, when you open your heart in the stage and try to just connect with the people,
Right.
it happens. It's magic.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing, is it's magic. So, okay, so going back a little bit, in stand-up, who is your idol? I mean, like, who is one of your heroes for stand-up?
Well, I have some, but Woody Allen.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
you don't know this story, but Woody Allen, his manager,
very quirky.
when he was starting his career as a script writer,
Mm-hmm.
his manager said, "Listen, you need to do stand-up comedy," and he didn't want to do it.
Uh-huh.
But he would get gigs. He would get paid that same day, and for a script, you have to wait and wait. and
Right.
wait.
Yeah.
So they were gigs just for their manager to get money,
Right.
and Woody Allen didn't like to do that. You can find some beats of Woody Allen doing stand-up.
on like YouTube.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
like back in the day.
I think there's one or two. There's not much, but
Yeah, because you don't really hear too
being
much about it.
Woody Allen, the writer that he is,
I know, he's
a
brilliant.
great performer.
He's a brilliant performer, writer, musician. He plays.
yeah.
He has a band in
Yeah,
New
yeah,
York
yeah.
City. He plays in jazz clubs.
and many other things we won't talk about here.
Right. Yeah.
But
You can
for-
say it for your comedy show.
Yeah, exactly. And but now I like Louis C.K.
I don't know.
Louis
who that
C.K.
is.
Oh, you need to see that special.
Yeah.
Louis
Okay.
CK.
Louis C.K.
Anthony Jeselnik.
Oh, I don't know who that is either.
He's very.
Oh man,
he's very dark.
I need the list. I
He's
need the
very
list
dark.
because I do love stand up.
Aziz Ansari.
Okay, I do know who that is. Yes.
Who else? Dimitri Martin. I love Dimitri Martin.
Okay, so with these people, what is it in particular about Dimitri Martin, for example?
His one-liners.
Uh-huh.
He has a lot of jokes, one-liner jokes.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. Do one-liners.
The
Mitch
one-liner.
Hedberg. Mitch Hedberg.
No.
He said he got some jokes like, "I have a vest. If I didn't have arms, it would be a jacket." Or rice is great when you want 10,000 of something. So one-liners are really great, and Dimitri Martin is a great one-liner comedian. He plays the guitar and just does one-liners.
And just does one liner. Okay, so talking about one-liners and maybe the jokes, do you have like one particular joke or one particular topic that you always go back to because that's like your jam? Like everybody cracks up at that.
Well, most of them are in Spanish, but I have these that I have a nephew that was born in Seattle, so he doesn't speak Spanish. And when he was little, he asked me, "Uncle Alex, where do babies come from?" And I said, "Well, Carlitos, babies come from cum."
And when...
You don't need to censor this here because
No. It's part of science. It's
exactly
part of science.
it's science.
It's science.
So or
And then he looks at you like with his eyes. What?
Obviously,
and his
I
mom's
didn't-
like, "Oh my god."
obviously I didn't tell that to a kid. He's now like 18 now.
And so now you know.
But the joke works
Right.
literally, in the text. And I have
right.
this one. My grandmother has COVID, and she's okay, but she contagió, ¿cómo dices? But she infected
infected. Yes.
her dentist
Oh god.
with chlamydia.
Oh god.
It's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Hey, no.
You need to see it in a bar to get the feeling of this.
You need the kawama.
Politically incorrect. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
some of the work that we do. We try to find the best way to do a joke, and sometimes at first it won't work, but you need to try it with the public, with the audience.
because that's the thing. Also, I mean, you put so much out there of your your heart, and so you're exposing your underbelly. And then if people are just sitting there and they're just like, they're in crickets, right?
Yeah.
How we say, nobody says anything, nobody laughs.
Of course, it happens all the time, and that's what makes you grow as a comedian.
Absolutely.
You grow more on a bad show than in a good show.
Yeah.
If you go off stage and everybody's clapping and everybody's laughing and you have a great night, you go immediately to party. Right? With your friends, and it was a great show. Congratulations, you're the greatest comedian. So you don't think about the process there.
Right.
And when you have a bad show, you go immediately inside yourself and think, what do I need to get better?
Exactly.
So you learn more of a bad show than in a good show.
Absolutely. And that goes across the board. You learn more from your failures than you do from your successes, for sure. That's kind of the rule.
Exactly.
That's the rule. Okay, so now what are your plans? Because you just moved to Merida. Really, you've been here for 2 years.
2 years.
So you kind of came during the pandemic towards the end.
Well, we were tired of living in Mexico City, confined in a very small apartment. My kid was 2 years. So I said, my grandfather was born in Motul. Why don't we go to Merida and think about what we're going to do?
Right.
We didn't plan on moving. We just came on a vacation.
But had you been coming here since you were a kid?
No. I came when I was a kid, when I was 7. And my mom said, de aquí es tu abuelo, mira tu tierra, look Merida, this is your roots.
Right.
And after that, I came to do a stand-up comedy show 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
Then I came with Super Cívicos. I think somewhere in Garcia Lavín, but there was nothing on Garcia Lavín. There was nothing there.
Yeah. 6 years ago? No.
Or more. So I came for that. I came with Super Cívicos to do something with Uber because they were, smashing the cars, the taxi drivers.
Yeah, it was very scandalous at the very beginning.
What's happening now in Quintana Roo?
Oh my gosh.
So we did something with Super Cívicos, with Uber.
How did that go over?
Not very good, but not very bad.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was okay.
That was a hot topic.
Yeah, it was a hot topic. And then I came with my family, and we went to Salon Gallos.
Okay.
And met some very interesting people there and saw the scene in Merida.
Yeah.
We said, let's try it. So we sold everything, and we were supposed to try 2 months, but it's been 2 years, and now we're staying.
Yep.
We really love it here.
That's the story. Everybody always says that. I was going to be here for 2 years, or not 2 years, like a couple
2
months,
months,
and all of a sudden, 20 years later. Yeah. No, Merida, we love Merida. I mean, and there's more and more coming, more and more things happening every year. And there's more of, I think, an audience for stand-up now.
Yeah, and there's a lot of kids. Kids because they're 20, 21, 22. They're just kids. And they are trying to make stand-up comedy. So
right. A lot of Yucatecans. Have you come across a lot of Yucatecans?
Yeah, a lot of Yucatecans. It's Juan Amaro, Albert Pinot, Chema. Chema Flores, Pato Mac. So they were really excited of a comedian coming to live here because
they probably all followed you.
Yeah, and you find your tribe, right?
Totally.
So they're so excited, and more comedians are coming. Alex Fernandez came, Fran Evia, big names in the Mexican comedy scene.
Okay.
Are coming here to Merida.
For shows?
Big shows. In Manzanero, in Palacio de la Música, in Auditorio La Isla. Big names in comedy in Mexico. So the scene in Merida is growing, and it's turning into a reference for stand-up comedy.
For comedy.
In Spanish, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm working on comedy in English, because the work for comedy in Spanish is getting done by the kids here in Merida.
Right.
And they have open mics on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday. And so they're working
and
on
where are the open mics?
On Monday, this is in Spanish. On Monday, they have on Pato de Humo.
Where's that?
It's in 1H here in Mexico Norte.
Yeah.
It's a great smokehouse.
Pato de Humo. I'm going to have to note that down.
You should try it.
You can be my scout for Mid-City.
Yeah, whatever.
New spots.
Especially because you're more focused on downtown Merida.
On downtown. Yeah, I need to get some more spots up north, like the cool places.
I get more local things, like Pato de Humo is more local.
Yeah,
it's not in downtown Merida. So Pato de Humo on Mondays.
Okay.
On Tuesdays, I think in Absenta en Los Héroes.
Okay.
This is, deep Yucatecan barrio.
Right, love it.
So that's in Los Héroes, in Absenta. Miércoles, Wednesday is in Sabe Pizza. Have you been to Sabe Pizza? It's in Circuito Colonias and
Oh,
22.
Savvy. Yeah.
Savvy.
Right on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There, my wife does like every 2 Fridays, she does an open mic just for girls in Spanish.
Cool.
So Savvy Pizza is like turning like the underground spot for Spanish comedy.
Okay.
Savvy on
Savvy.
Wednesdays.
On Wednesdays. At what time? All in the evening times.
Yeah, it's maybe 9 or 10 the show starts. It's always full of comedians and of audience. It's a great open mic in Spanish in Savvy Pizza.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so take note. Take note to go out and enjoy yourself and to support the up-and-coming comedians.
Thank you very
Women
much for
and
that.
men.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. So we are going to take another quick break. We will be back to kind of finish up our show with Ese Wey, and don't go anywhere. All right, and welcome back to What's Happening Yucatan with me, Stephanie Carmon. And today, if you are just joining us, you are joining us at the very end of the show with Ese Wey, who is a stand-up comedian from Mexico City, but has been living in Yucatan for now 2 years. And he's been telling us about all of his projects that he's doing here and comedy, etc. He's done so much in Mexico, and now he's bringing the scene here to Yucatan, and he has a show every Wednesday. You got to check it out in English at 7 o'clock at El Cardinal Cantina. So you got to look that up for sure. I think I might head out there.
Please.
Yes.
I sing some songs of because you know what I really would like to be is something like a crooner.
Okay.
You know, this like Bobby Darin, like Nat King Cole, like all these guys that. They were great singers, but they were also great entertainers.
Absolutely.
They would make jokes, and that's what I'm trying to do there. So I sing Frank Sinatra.
You do.
Bobby
so
Darin.
you got a great voice too.
Well, I'll try.
Of course. Well, your voiceovers and you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I try to do. In Cardinal.
Can you sing a little jingle?
What do you want? I can sing Bobby Darin.
Okay.
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me.
Hey, love it. Oh yeah, we got a Corona right here.
Thank you.
So that's fun. So on Wednesday nights, you're kind of doing a little mix
exactly.
entertainment in general.
And I opened the list if anyone in the audience is willing to try original comedy on stage. You have 5 minutes to try to make people laugh.
Right. Okay. So those of you listening out there, if you've ever dreamed about telling those jokes, you want to try it, go out.
And it's so liberating. There's people that, like the first open mic, there was this girl, I think she's an English teacher. Her name is Fernanda.
Okay.
And she just have a mastogram.
Okay.
So she was like very worried about the results. She didn't know the results. So she was very nervous.
Right.
And she said, I just gonna go and grab a mezcal. And she was sitting there and she just sang herself in the list and did very good 5 minutes of comedy talking about this nervous feeling of having a mastogram.
Really?
Mastogram, is that the word?
Yeah, it's
Mastogram?
It's a mammogram.
Mammogram.
A mammogram or
So
mastogram.
she did like 5 minutes talking about that and people were laughing about that. And she was like, I'm so liberating that I was able to talk about these.
Right.
So it's almost,
it can be a very healing process.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Comedy heals.
Comedy really does heal. It heals, absolutely. When there's a sad situation or an unjust situation. I mean, look at all the comedy about racism, which is really an intense topic. But, you bring in understanding, and you can get to people and help people who might not understand a topic to actually understand it.
Comedy is a tool for change.
It's a tool for change. Absolutely.
Especially in
Brilliantly
Mexico.
said.
Especially in Mexico.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and definitely follow him on all of his social media. You're on TikTok as Ese Wey.
Everywhere as Ese Wey. Esewey. Esewey.
Yes.
Ese Wey.
Ese Wey. And all of your stuff is mostly in Spanish, but do you do some stuff in English on your...
I'm recording some beats.
Okay.
That work in Cardenal, and I'm going to upload them to TikTok.
Oh, fun.
In my rusty English. It's going to get better, I promise.
Well, he's done a great job tonight.
Thank you very much.
That's for sure. So very good. So don't forget to tune in next week, 8 to 9 on Wednesdays for your show with me, What's Happening Yucatan. And don't forget to follow us at www.midcitybeat.com. Check the calendar of events. I'm going to tell you guys everything that's going on in the city, including all the stand-up comedy. Yeah. And I'm launching a new calendar of events hopefully by the end of the week, so stay tuned. It's going to be really cool. And you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at MidCityBeat. And don't forget to follow Radio Mundo Merida, 89.3 FM. Twitter, you can follow them at Radio Mundo 89.3. And also don't forget to note down the WhatsApp if you want to chime in and have a question for me or for our guests at 999-126-0097. That's it for tonight. I'm Stephanie Carmon, and I hope to have you all with me next week.